If a certain country is on your travel wish list for 2026, I urge you to stop. Do not book that flight. Do not reserve that hotel. In fact, do not make any concrete plans until you have heard what I am about to share. This is not a casual suggestion. It is a serious warning born from careful observation and a deep sense of responsibility to fellow travelers like you. The information circulating online, beautiful pictures, exciting videos, simply do not paint the complete picture. There is a side to this destination that remains hidden from the average tourist, a side that could significantly impact your entire experience in ways you cannot yet imagine. This isn't about discouraging travel. On the contrary, I believe travel is one of the most enriching things we can do. It opens our minds and connects us with the world. However, true travel is about more than just seeing the sights. It's about understanding the places we visit. My goal today is to provide you with that deeper understanding. What I have to say in the coming minutes could save you a significant amount of money. It could spare you from unnecessary stress and disappointment. Most importantly, it could prevent you from feeling a profound sense of regret. The excitement of planning a trip can be intoxicating. We scroll through feeds filled with perfect sunsets, empty beaches, smiling faces. It's easy to get caught up in the fantasy. But I am here to offer a dose of reality. The information I am sharing is not meant to scare you. It is meant to prepare you. It is about awareness. Over the years, I have learned that being an informed traveler is the best way to be a happy traveler. This warning is your first step toward making a truly informed decision, one that aligns with your expectations and ensures your next adventure is everything you hope for and more. Please, listen closely. The details matter. Before you click that Book Now button, give yourself the advantage of knowing the full story. Let's talk about the travel advice you see online every day. It is often beautiful, inspiring, and incredibly tempting. We see influencers standing alone in front of majestic monuments or dining in picturesque cafes. Their videos are perfectly edited, set to uplifting music, and designed to make you feel an intense desire to be there. But this content, while entertaining, is rarely the whole truth. It is a highlight reel, a curated collection of perfect moments that have been carefully selected to capture your attention and your clicks. You are not planning for the long lines that were edited out of the video. You are not planning for the aggressive street vendors or the overcrowded conditions. This disconnect is a primary source of travel disappointment. It started subtly, as these things often do. It wasn't a headline I read or a specific story I heard. It was more like a change in the air. As someone who is deeply immersed in the world of travel, reading blogs, watching videos, and talking to fellow wanderers every single day, I have developed a certain sensitivity to these undercurrents. For months, I had been watching the online buzz build around a particular country. The excitement was palpable, a rising tide. Yet, something felt off. It felt like watching a beautiful, brightly colored boat being prepared for a grand voyage, while I was the only one who could feel the faint tremor of a distant, approaching storm. Soon after that initial feeling of unease settled in, the whispers started. They came in the form of private messages from followers, stray comments buried deep in online travel forums. They would praise the beauty, but then would come the but. But it was so unbelievably crowded. But I felt like I was constantly being overcharged. But getting around was a nightmare. In the world of travel, as in life, isolated incidents are just noise. But when those incidents start to repeat themselves, they form a pattern. And when patterns emerge, a wise traveler pays close attention. This is the core of what I call my travel psychic ability. It is simply advanced pattern recognition. One of the most prominent patterns was the theme of overwhelming crowds. Another repeating pattern involved money and the feeling of being exploited. Finally, a third pattern emerged around logistics and infrastructure. So, what is this country? I know you are eager to find out, and I promise the reveal is coming very soon. But before I name it, it's important to understand why this specific place has become the epicenter of this phenomenon. You have likely seen it on your screen countless times, even if you did not know exactly where it was. The time for teasing is over. It is time to name the country on everyone's 2026 travel list. The country I urge you to think twice about before booking for 2026 is Italy, specifically the hyper-popular, Instagram-famous regions: Amalfi Coast, Cinque Terre, Rome, Florence, Venice. These places dominate our social feeds with breathtaking beauty. Why is Italy a stark warning for 2025? Because its timeless appeal is now amplified to an unsustainable degree by social media. Post-pandemic travel surge plus photogenic spots. A perfect storm. It's trending because it ticks every box for the modern traveler. Incredible food, rich history, scenery made to go viral. Don't book based on the illusion of a serene, romantic 30-second reel. The Italy of those videos and the Italy you will likely experience in 2026 are very different. You see a reel of a woman in a flowing dress, seemingly alone, watching the sunset in Positano. What you don't see is that she likely waited 45 minutes for a small gap in the throng of people to get that shot. You don't see the sweat, the noise, and the sheer claustrophobia of being packed into a tiny space. You see a perfect plate of pasta on a checkered tablecloth at a charming Roman trattoria. What the video conveniently edits out is the hour-long wait for a table, the rushed and impersonal service from an exhausted waiter, and the blaring traffic just feet from your charming outdoor seat. The influencer doesn't tell you that the restaurant was recommended on a viral TikTok video. A reel might show a joyful, windswept ferry ride along the Amalfi Coast. It doesn't show the reality of the ferry terminal, a chaotic, poorly signed mob of confused tourists pushing to get on board. It doesn't mention that the local SETA buses are often so full that they drive right past the bus stop, leaving dozens of travelers stranded, forcing them into a hugely expensive taxi ride. These edited reels hide the sheer stress of it all. They cut out the moments of frustration, the arguments, the confusion. The fantasy is a smooth, effortless glide from one beautiful scene to the next. The reality is often a stressful stop-and-go battle against crowds and failing logistics. In Cinque Terre, the famous hiking trails between the villages have become single-file lines of people. The romance of the trail is lost. That wish you wanted to make at the Trevi Fountain in Rome? You will be lucky to get within 50 feet of it. The atmosphere is not one of wonder, but of chaotic competition. Let me tell you about a traveler I'll call Sarah. Sarah had been dreaming of the Amalfi Coast for years. Her Instagram save folder was a shrine to its cliffside villages. For her anniversary, she and her partner booked what they thought would be the trip of a lifetime. The first few days were a blur of navigating crowds, but they were determined to make the most of it. The real trouble started on the day they planned to visit Positano from their base in Sorrento. The reality was a chaotic bus stop with hundreds of other people. They waited for over an hour as several full buses drove right past them without stopping. The sun was beating down and frustration began to build, turning their excited anticipation into a tense argument. Finally, they gave up and decided to take a taxi, only to be quoted an astronomical price of over 100 euros, a hidden cost that immediately blew their budget for the day. They reluctantly agreed, feeling defeated before they even arrived. When they finally arrived in Positano, they were met not with serene beauty, but with a wall of people. As dusk began to fall, they decided to take a ferry back, hoping to avoid another bus fiasco. But at the crowded pier in the chaotic push to board, Sarah's partner felt a hand slip into his pocket. He spun around, but the thief was gone, along with his wallet. The safety scare was the final straw. The dream had officially become a nightmare. Sitting in the local police station late that night, the beautiful vistas of the Amalfi Coast felt like a distant, cruel joke. They had come seeking romance, seeking relaxation, but found only stress, found only frustration, and a violation of their personal security. Sarah's story is a perfect example of the money and logistics traps that await unprepared travelers in Italy's most popular spots. The most common trap is tourist pricing. It can apply to a taxi ride, a scoop of gelato, or a souvenir. You will see two menus at some restaurants, one for locals and one for tourists, with inflated prices. Currency exchange is another major money pit. They lure you in with no commission signs, but their terrible exchange rates are a massive hidden fee. Always choose to be charged in the local currency, euros, not your home currency. The dynamic currency conversion offered by the machine is almost always a terrible deal. Transportation scams and logistical failures are where your time and sanity are lost. The situation with the Sida buses on the Amalfi Coast is a well-known nightmare. In Rome, be wary of unofficial helpers at train ticket machines. Booking train tickets in advance online is essential. That charming Airbnb with a view might conveniently forget to mention the 5 flights of steep, narrow stairs you have to haul your luggage up. The failure to do deep research, reading recent reviews, looking at the location on a satellite map, and understanding the real proximity to public transport is a logistical trap that sets the tone for your entire stay. If you are a first-time international traveler, if you are on a very tight budget, or if you value ease and spontaneity above all else, these specific overhyped locations are likely to be a source of immense frustration. The reality of the crowds, costs, and logistical hurdles will almost certainly lead to disappointment. For travelers who do not have the time or inclination to do deep practical research, it is wiser and safer to wait. However, for others, a visit is still possible. This is a trip for experienced travelers only, for resilient travelers, and for highly prepared travelers. This means booking everything, starting with museum tickets, train seats, and dinner reservations, weeks, if not months, in advance. It requires a willingness to embrace very early mornings, to beat the crowds, and a deep well of patience for when things inevitably go wrong. Looking ahead to 2026, my travel psychic prediction is that these issues will only intensify. The social media hype machine is not slowing down. Crowds will swell even further. In response, prices will continue to climb. We may also see new tourist taxes, reservation systems for entire towns, or even daily visitor caps. The core message is clear. Go exceptionally prepared in 2026, or wait for a calmer time. Travel is one of the most powerful and enriching experiences a person can have. But awareness is your greatest form of protection. It is the shield that guards your hard-earned money, your precious time, and your peace of mind. I truly hope this frank discussion has helped you. My goal is never to discourage exploration, but to ensure your journeys are as joyful and rewarding as possible. If this video provided value and changed the way you think about your plans, please consider liking, commenting with your experiences, and subscribing to The Travel Psychic. Thank you for watching.